So we're back. This is On Patrol with the Suffolk County PBA. I'm CJ, and with me as always,
I'm Tanner Brandamari.
And today we have Damon Marro with us. Damon's a PBA board member. He was the 5th Precinct trustee, now recording secretary, and he wears many hats. He's actually the vice president of the Brotherhood of the Fallen, too. So thanks for coming on today, Damon.
Thanks for having me.
So just tell us a little bit about your journey into the Brotherhood of the Fallen and how this all developed.
Sure. So back in 2016 is when I first was introduced to what the Brotherhood for the Fallen potentially could be in Suffolk County. We went to Dallas for the Dallas 5 funeral. So it was when 5 Dallas police officers were killed on the same day, protecting people that were actually protesting against them in the streets back then. They were gunned down by one individual who was deranged. So we were all sent to funerals by the PBA, two per precinct, and I believe there was about 30 or so of us that made it down to all the funerals. So when I was down there, I met Jimmy Johnson, who turned out to be the president of this organization when all was said and done. And I had met him prior, and a good friend of mine, who was also a good friend of his, when he introduced us, he said to Jimmy, if you ever get this Brotherhood thing off the ground, this is the guy you need to have, involved. And he pointed to me, and the rest is kind of history. So once we got back to town and Jimmy was able to finally get this thing rolling, he reached out to me, and I was one of the people that was lucky enough to be with him from the very beginning to help get this thing going back in 2016.
And he just happened to be there by chance when this guy showed up. So almost like you were meant to do this with him.
It kind of feels like that sometimes. Like it was just, through being at the funerals, through being friends with a certain person and being at the right place at the right time, and being where we're at now, it all just seemed to line up perfectly. Yeah.
Now, as one of the founding members, what was your initial role in getting everything moving once you brought it back to Suffolk County after everything in Dallas was over?
So initially what we had to do is, number one, we had to get permission from the department. Back then, Stu Cameron was in charge. He was the acting commissioner back then. And we had to, I'm sorry, he was the chief of department, and Tim Sini was the commissioner back then. So I remember Jimmy and I met in the parking lot, and we had a meeting set with the two of them. And, we're getting our dress uniform together, and we're walking up to the building. And I turned to him and I said, I can't believe that I'm about to go meet with the commissioner and chief of department about this. Like, who am I? Like, I can't believe I'm in this position. And he's like, I know I can't either, but this is incredible. So it was great. We had to talk to them about allowing our guys to be in uniform, traveling to these funerals and represent the department, and wear our Brotherhood for the Fallen lapel pin to represent our chapter when they went to the deployments. And then we also had to set up, bank accounts, set up our 401c account. We had to get a lawyer. We had to get an accountant. All the things that come with setting up,
Basically a company.
A company. We're a charity. But it's the same. Probably the same thing that you would do.
A lot of work goes into that. Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of details that a lot of people don't really think of behind the scenes. Who helped you get all that stuff? Who helped you make those contacts? How'd that all develop too, with the attorneys you needed, the accountants or bookkeepers, whatever the case may be?
Right. So there was a group of us. There was about 6-7 of us that were part of it from the first day, and everybody kind of would jump on. We would have meetings on a very regular basis in the beginning. And something would come up that had to be done, and one of us would, okay, I'm going to jump on that. I know a guy. Doesn't the guy in my precinct do that on the side? Let me talk to him. Maybe he knows somebody. Stuff like that.
Oh, so you get like cops too.
Sometimes it was cops, or sometimes it was a cop who maybe had a brother who knows a guy, or it was always a connection from somebody that was in law enforcement initially, because we had no money. Everything we did was on a wing and a prayer in the beginning. We are 1,000% funded by donations and by our dues. There's no money coming in any other way. So we didn't have any dues coming in at the time, and we didn't have any donations coming in at the time. So everything that was done was done as a donation of somebody's time and somebody's effort.
For donations, you have individuals just that are not police officers that donate money to the Brotherhood.
Yes, we have companies, we have other charitable organizations, we have fraternal organizations. PBA is a huge supporter of us, always have been since day one. Individuals as well, dentists, plumbers, whatever. Anybody who's got a company, from a mom and pop shop to conglomerates have given us donations along the way.
Last year, we were at that event at Claire Rose over in Yaphank area. And what was it? Folds of Honor.
Right.
Gave a big check to the Brotherhood for the Fallen.
Claire Rose gave us $50,000 last year, which was by far the biggest donation we've ever gotten at one time. And it made a tremendous amount of difference in the fact that we were able to raise our donation per family by $500 comfortably just from that donation alone.
Great. So what is the donation per family?
Right now we're at $2,500 per family.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
Yeah, that in such a hard time for the family, it's nice to get that little bit of monetary help to get through that initial phase of the loss of their loved one.
Right, and that's a big thing too. Like when it happens right away, everything every department's a bureaucracy. Every department is paperwork and time, and suddenly that paycheck stops for that family, and the majority of the time that police officer is the breadwinner for that family. Mm-hmm. And if any family anywhere in this country goes a week or 2 or 3 without a paycheck, it's going to hurt and it's going to be difficult, and it's hard enough to deal with the loss of a loved one.
Right. A lot of people think about, especially locally, Suffolk County and the New York State pension system. Not every state is structured the same way.
Right.
So sometimes, maybe you go to a state and they don't necessarily have that defined benefit pension that we have here in New York State, or they don't necessarily have the same level of death benefits that we have here. So this money goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
Do you guys often seek out the donations, or do people come to you when they hear of a story of an individual cop that was killed in the line of duty?
So it's both of those things happen. We have once a year we have our big fundraiser event, and that is a lot of that money that we spend throughout the year is generated on that one event. So that's a very big event for us. It's very helpful that we get as many sponsors for that as we can. So we blast it out on our social media. We sent out about 160, 170 envelopes last week to people who have donated in the past, to local politicians who maybe they would pass that along to people that they know are donors, to all of our fraternals. So anybody who we think who has in the past donated or we think could possibly donate is going to get a letter to potentially donate to our upcoming event.
That event's always one of the great parties of the year, too. I know we go every year. The PBA always does a sponsorship to that. And it becomes almost like a who's who of the county. There's elected officials there, everybody involved with the department from commissioner on down. It's one of the best events of the year. And we've had the families of the fallen, or at least our local ones that have been there in the past. So it's nice to show them the support. They're not forgotten. We're here for them, too, all the time. It's one of the best parties.
Right. Thank you very much. And this year it'll be April 30th, Wednesday, April 30th at the Paramount again. So anybody that could make it, come on down. The more people there, the more raffles we sell and the more merchandise we sell, and all that money, every dollar that we make, I can't stress enough, is going to the families of police officers that were killed violently in the line of duty in this country. Every dime. None of it goes to the organization. We're not taking anything out of it. It's all going to the families.
Yeah, and a lot of that merchandise is I'm admiring your sweatshirt right now.
Right. Whereas we like to, whenever we see anybody wearing our merchandise, people are going to say, hey, what's the Brotherhood for the Fallen? And maybe they could explain it and get that word out. That's our social media. We try to get our word out, and something like this is tremendous. Anytime we can spread the word, because people are touched by it. You see stories. And unfortunately, police officers are killed every couple of days in this country in the line of duty. And sometimes it's white noise. Sometimes it just happens and it doesn't make a lot of noise. But sometimes certain stories seem to resonate more than others for whatever reason. And then when something like that happens, there seems to be a big rush to donate to the families or to donate to other police organizations, stuff like that. But the reason why this organization, the Brotherhood for the Fallen, was founded to begin with, and we weren't the first chapter. There's 10 chapters across the country now. So the reason the first chapter was formed in Chicago was because of that very thing. The founding officers thought that everybody deserved to be recognized. Every family of every fallen officer, every department deserved to be recognized. So they wanted to make sure that every cop that got killed in the line of duty had police officers show up to their funeral and a little bit of money to the family to help them get through these tough initial weeks after their family member was killed. So that's really what the Brotherhood was built on. Every single cop that gets killed violently in this country, as cops in uniform show up, pay their respects, and support the department and the family.
That in itself is so important. I think after becoming a cop for so many years, you realize how important that is. Our job is so different from other jobs that it really is dangerous. I think just that alone makes a big difference for the families, but you guys take it to another level.
Right. I can't tell you how many times between the family members that you meet, the cops from the department that you visit, people, civilians in the towns that you go to, like, well, what are you doing here? Why'd you come so far? Did you know him? Did you go to college with him? How did you even know about this? And then when they hear the story of who we are and what we are, they're blown away. You know, they see me standing next to the guy from Chicago, the guy from Dallas, you know, the guy from Colorado, and we're in Arizona. And they just can't believe we all got together and came so far to stand shoulder to shoulder for somebody we never met, you know. But it's us, and it's truly a brotherhood, and it's us coming together just to show them and their families and their departments and their communities that we're all in this together.
Yeah, that's great.
And when the bad guys come, no matter what they take from us, the rest of us are still going to be here standing, you know, and we're still going to be there. So that's what we're all about.
It's like reinforcing that foundation of what everybody always thinks of when it comes to the camaraderie and brotherhood that the police have.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. It is awesome. It's such a great mission that you're involved with. It's awesome to be a part of it. Now, how many Suffolk County members are a part of this?
So we have over 2,000 members.
Wow.
On our roster.
And we're not the first chapter, right? We built off of Chicago was the first chapter.
Right. We are the biggest chapter in the country, members wise. We do tremendous with our fundraising. We do tremendous with our traveling. It's been unbelievable, the growth. It's been 9 years since we've been a chapter. And our first deployment was to California. And the guy I was telling you about who introduced me to Jimmy was one of our first travelers, funny enough. And I'm telling you, we had no money. We probably shouldn't have traveled as soon as we did. We probably should have given ourselves a little bit more time to get together, but we were so eager to get going. We were borrowing money. Like we hit somebody up for a donation to pay for the flight. It was hand to mouth in the beginning. Okay. You know, it took us a long time to build up to the point where we're comfortable, where we have a little bit of a nest egg. So like on a rainy day, because we've had months where we've had to travel to 8, 9, 10 deployments in a month.
Right. The sad reality.
And that money goes fast. You know, it used to be $2,000 before, now it's $2,500. So it's $2,000 to the family, but we're paying for the flights for 2 people. And these flights are booked last minute because when somebody gets killed in the line of duty, it's not planned. Mm-hmm. And those funerals are going to be a few days later, a week later. So you don't have time to plan a month ahead and wait for when the flights are going to be at a more convenient price or whatever. It's you're booking when the funeral is, and you got to book it fast. And we're paying for their hotels, and we're paying for a rental car. So that money, that adds up fast. So all the donations we get, all the dues that we get from all of our members, and the merchandise sales are all great, and we do really well with all that. But it adds up fast.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
As fast as we can bring it in, it's going out. And we're happy to be in a position to be able to attend just about every single line of duty death in the country, and to be able to every couple of years we've been able to kick up how much we're giving to the families, and we just want to keep going higher and higher.
Building blocks.
Damon, can you just talk about how you get people to go on these trips?
So what we do is every time there is a deployment coming up, we have a texting system and an email system. So every time there's a line of duty death that we're going to be once we get the details, we'll send it out. We need travelers to go to, so-and-so's funeral in whatever state it is. You're going to be departing on this date, and you're going to be returning on this date. And then whoever replies, we go by however many times they've gone. So if somebody replies first and they've never gone before, they're going. And then they get to pick their travel partner. So let's say 2 people reply, and the first guy that replied has been 10 times, but the second guy replies and he's only been 1 time. The second guy, and when I say guy, girl, whoever, replies, they go, because they've only been the 1 time. Mm-hmm. So what we really like to do, we call it new blood. The more new people that go to get to experience this, the better it is that we spread the word about how rewarding it is to go on these deployments.
And do you get to hear back from members after they come back from the trips, and what's their take on the trip, or what's their experience like?
All the time. We hear it. We hear how humbling it is, how amazing it was. We've had people that have been invited back to the homes of the fallen families, had dinner at their houses.
Wow, bring them into their homes. It just shows how important it is to people that are really affected by the loss.
We've had people that were part of Native American, it was like in a, I forget I don't even know how to describe it, but it was a ritual, a burial ritual that was separate from the actual funeral, the police funeral.
That's interesting.
But that they were also invited to,
Now, was that like one of the Native American tribe law enforcement agencies?
Yes, right. Okay. Exactly right. I was at a funeral down at the border in Arizona where the department, most of the guys, now, while we're talking about Suffolk County, how different it is than most of the departments, they didn't make a lot of money down there. So most of them moonlighted a second job, and most of them, their second job was as on the border. They were border agents. So they would work back and forth with Mexico and in Arizona. So they offered to take us to Mexico one night while we were staying down there. I passed them up on the offer, but a lot of the guys decided to go down there. So, but these are the kind of experiences that you're never going to get anywhere else. I was on a deployment where the cop was killed on a traffic stop in Arkansas in a very rural area. And he wound up getting into a barricaded situation in a farmhouse on a dirt road up the block from where the shootout was with the police officer that he killed. And when I go to the deployments, I like to visit the place where the police officer was killed, and I lay one of our patches and one of our coins down at the site.
It's a nice touch.
So while I'm there, an SUV pulls up with a woman and an elderly woman in the passenger seat, and she sees me there in my uniform, and she asks me, what's going on. She knows what had happened there. And I explain, and she's like, you're not going to believe this, but this is my mom. That's her house where the guy was barricaded in. And so she's telling me the whole story about what her mother went through, who lived there by herself. She heard the shooting. She looked out the window. She saw the guy running to her house. She called her daughter, who was the woman that was telling me the story. Her daughter tells her to run upstairs, lock the door, and call 911, which she did. And this dirtbag breaks into her house, starts rummaging through, this was right before Christmas, ripping open Christmas cards that she had written out to her grandkids and stealing the cash out of the Christmas cards.
Unreal. And
then finally, police came, and there was unfortunately shootout in this poor woman's house, tore the house up. And, but I got to get a firsthand account of what happened in this tiny little town on this tiny little dirt road in this little farmhouse where this unbelievably horrific, tragic incident happened. And I'm getting a firsthand account of how it happened from an eyewitness. Where else do you get that kind of an experience?
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. You get to meet so many people, and like you said, you interact with somebody you would have never otherwise met.
Right.
And you get to hear about these actions that people take, and then the response from police officers that leads to the shootout inside somebody's house. Could you imagine that happening here in Suffolk County? Right. I mean, you're living in Sayville, right? All of a sudden, across the street, there's a barricaded and a shootout right in front of you.
Right.
Like, it's unbelievable.
Yep.
That's some experience. It really is.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's also probably interesting. You guys get to see the culture of others in other states, of the police departments, and really the cultures of the other departments as well. That's got to be a unique experience in of itself.
Absolutely. And we've had guys who have traveled and have made lifelong friends with people that they've met. Because like I said, there's 10 other chapters. You're going on these deployments. What we try to do, all the other chapters, is we coordinate. So when you travel for us, you're going to stay at a hotel with the Boston guys, with the Chicago guys, with the New York City guys, with the Arkansas guys. We're all staying at the same hotel. So you're spending those 2 to 3 days together, and you're going to go to the wake together. You're going to go to the funeral together. You're going to get dinner together. So you form a bond with these people, and sometimes you're going to hit it off with them. You're going to have brand new friends somewhere across the country from these other departments that you never would have ever met in your life. So it's a unique experience to bond with and get to know people from all over the country. That's just a very pleasant sub part of being part of this organization.
Right. You know what I find pretty interesting too is that even though we weren't the first chapter, we're now the largest chapter,
right.
But we're by no means the largest job in the country.
No.
Do all the other big jobs have chapters?
No. Well, New York City has a chapter, but for instance, LAPD does not have a chapter. Politics plays a big part in it as well. So NYPD has a chapter, but the politics of New York City gives them a much harder time of having a successful chapter. Everybody, very fortunately for us, everybody in Suffolk County is unbelievably supportive of us, from our elected officials to the job, to our unions, to our fraternals, to the public. You know, I walk into a restaurant and I say, I'm from the Brotherhood for the Fallen. I explain what we are, and we're looking for gift cards for our upcoming event. I'm not going to get chased out, you know, like I would if I was saying maybe Manhattan or the Bronx or Los Angeles. Like they have to deal with a whole different set of reality than we do. Plus, their guys, they don't get the time that we get off, right? They're mandated overtime. They're mandated to work their RDOs. We don't have that problem. Mm-hmm. You know, it's bad enough that, you know, sometimes our guys have to take days off to travel, which is tough on our guys. But at least if 1 or 2 of those days that they're traveling happen to be RDOs, the job's not going to say, oh, by the way, as you're walking out, trying to sign out, no, you're working tomorrow. Right.
That makes it difficult.
And it's harder to get guys to travel when they get 1 day off every 3 weeks.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it's a bigger hurdle for them in certain other jurisdictions.
And you don't even know if you're going to have that day off. So that makes it a lot harder.
Right.
So we have about 2,000 members in Suffolk County now. Is that including retirees, or is that just actives?
Yes. We have a really good group of retirees that help us with travel a lot. We have guys who travel on a consistent basis that are retirees that really help us make certain deployments that we probably wouldn't have made if we relied on active guys. It's a lot tougher on active guys to drop everything last minute and travel for 3 days. I get it. You know, if they're younger, they probably have kids, you know, they're working, they got stuff going on. Retirees, it's a little bit easier for them because they don't have all that stuff, you know, and they don't have to go to work. So we rely on them to supplement our travel a lot, and they've been great.
How does the enrollment for the membership work, really? Because we have such a big membership. How do you guys do it?
It's so easy for us. And again, that's another thing that makes it easier for us to have big membership numbers. We have direct deposit ability in our department. Not every department has that. So it's $2 a paycheck. It's automatically taken out of your paycheck, and you never have to think about it. Some departments got to come around it once a year and collect everything in a lump sum, and then do the same thing every year, year after year after year. I don't think we'd have 2,000 members if we had to do it that way.
Oh, certainly not.
Right? So if I get you to sign up one time and tell me, you know, I'm taking $2 from your paycheck, you won't even think about it, you know, for the rest of your career, you're never going to think about it again. It's $2. We haven't raised our dues in 9 years, and you don't worry about it. You don't have to write me a check. I don't have to come around and say, okay, this guy's a member. Let me go talk to him again in January. You know, it's automatic.
And think about how many retirees you would lose as members if you had to go around and seek them all out.
So we actually do. Retirees, we have to do seek out.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
So they have to pay yearly. So that's why what we found with our retirees, and we have a membership secretary who his biggest drive is to keep those numbers up. You know, he stays on top of it. So all the retirees, they get emails, they get letters, and he makes sure to try and keep them engaged and keep them active and keep them part of the organization.
Yeah, that's a daunting task, because if you lost out on all those members,
right,
it would really make it more difficult to do everything.
Right. It's a ton of work, and he does a great job at it.
Now, so when we have new classes get hired in the county, we always do that fraternal day.
Right.
You guys come in and you sign everybody up.
So we're lucky enough that pretty much everybody that makes any of those decisions at the academy recognizes how important our mission is. We don't do it on fraternal day. They give us our own time slot.
Oh, that's great.
They'll talk to Jimmy and they'll say, okay, this day we're giving you half an hour. You come in on your own, you tell them what you're all about, and you sign people up. So we're not lost in the noise of all the other fraternal organizations. And not that they're not all great in their own right. They all deserve their own, time in the sun and get to talk about what they do and why it's important to join them as well. I'm not saying that, but this is obviously something, like I said, those $2 that's coming out of your paycheck, it's not going to a fraternal organization that's going to use the money for charitable events. Absolutely they are. But this is 1,000% going to the families of dead cops. And if you can't take $2 out of your paycheck to send to the families of dead cops, this is what I tell the academy classes, then you're sitting in the wrong room, So it's just a different level of what you should be putting your money to, in my opinion.
It's really a brotherhood. Like, this truly is a brotherhood, no matter what job you're on. We all face similar situations and dangers. So.
Right.
Yeah, we're all in this together, right? About
Absolutely.
1.5 million cops throughout the country with all the different jurisdictions, federal, local, what have you. But we're all in this together. It's really a common mission.
Right. Yep.
Well, you have anything else you want to talk about, Ed?
No, I just
anything we missed of importance that you want to get out to the membership?
No, I just really appreciate any kind of light that could get shed on our organization like this is truly appreciated. Like I said, we rely on donations. We rely on word of mouth. Everything that we do is because of the generosity and the support of the PBA, of fraternal organizations, of donors, of our members. So
if you are a private donor, because there are going to be people that aren't cops that see this too, how would you go about making a donation? How do you reach out to Brotherhood of the Fallen? How do you do what Claire Rose did? And it doesn't have to be at that level. It doesn't have to be $50,000.
Right.
But if somebody wants to donate $100 to the cause, $20 to the cause.
So we have a website that has our link to donate. It has our P.O. box address that you could drop a check to. We have our social media, which is going to have links to whatever events we have coming up. So you could come to our event and buy tickets to the event. You could buy raffles at the event. You could buy our merchandise. You could be a sponsor. We have sponsors that are from $10,000 down to a couple $100. So there's any number of ways you want to donate, you can. And we show up also randomly at, say, a street fair in Smithtown. We'll get a tent and we'll sell our merchandise, and we'll even have a jar out for donations, and we'll have people come by and drop $1 in there, or drop $5 in there.
Yeah,
and we appreciate every single bit of it. I promise you. So any way that you want to do that, we greatly appreciate. And
do you guys sell merchandise off your website as well? Or?
We don't. We haven't set up anything like that yet. We sell it mobily at fairs and festivals and stuff like that at our events, but we don't have anything online as far as merchandise.
Okay.
But the public can buy the merchandise at those fairs.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's a great organization. We're happy that you took the reins. It's a round peg, round hole. It seems to really be a passion for you. And knowing you all the time, I've known you from all the stuff we've done with the PBA. I know it's a great fit for you. I know you're very, very relatable to people. You're good at opening up to new people, meeting people, creating those contacts. So what a great thing you're doing over there.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
And there really isn't a better cause in this one. So
right. Thank you so much.
Best of luck to you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.